Happy Friday, folks. Good afternoon. Um, the Kentucky Clemson game is underway, but we're gonna talk about the Orange Bowl, Georgia, Florida State. Avery, I'm excited about this matchup, Georgia, Florida
Georgia,
State.
Florida State.
I
I
understand that
understand that
Georgia
Georgia
about
about
15-point
15-point
favorites
favorites
in this
in this
game.
game.
However,
However,
I do
I
think
do
that
think
Florida
that Florida
State
State
will come
will
with
come
play with a
with play
chip
with
on
a
the
chip on the
shoulder.
shoulder.
I think Georgia will as well, but I don't think they will go as hard as Florida State will be because we know how pissed they are. So the issue is that Georgia has way more depth than Florida State, and that can cause some real problems. However, this is bowl season. This is bowl season. So I'll let you take it from there.
You're right, Miguel. When this game was first announced, first, a lot of people were in Florida State's corner. You went undefeated, but your quarterback got injured, and the playoff committee felt that was a decision that left you out of the playoff. But to Florida State Seminole fans, the fact that you were playing Georgia was a bit of a this is going to be our national championship. However, when you look at these two teams on paper, like you said, yes, it is bowl season. We have seen some great performances from players whose numbers got called. Georgia has no players that opted out. Players that are bowl eligible, they're seniors. Coach Kirby Smart sat with them, told them it's their decision to make. They sit down with their families. He was not going to be a factor in their decision making. And all of his players who were eligible or could have the opportunity to opt out did not. So you have a pretty much full roster of Georgia players. Now, there are some players that are injured. For example, Brock Bowers, their great tight end who has been injured, throughout the season. They're still questionable if he's going to play. If he does, that could be the key for Georgia. And you're right. You have Georgia looking at a 15 to 20 point spread. The over under is 45. So Georgia wants to go out and they just want to put points on the board. On the other side, Florida State, they are going to miss 19 players. 19 players opted out of playing the Orange Bowl. And I can understand it if you're getting ready for the draft, you want to showcase your skills at pro day, even though a bowl game would get you more exposure. For example, Trey Benson opted out. Keon Coleman, their explosive wide receiver, opted out. Of course, injuries. You have Jordan Travis, who is not playing as well. But there is one thing that I think has rallied the Florida State Seminoles. Their third string quarterback, Brock Glenn, he just needs those players to rally around him. This is now going to be his team until other decisions are made. So tomorrow the team needs to rally around him. Brock
He needs
Glenn
to take a
stated,
he needs to take a
absolutely,
page from Miller Moss.
absolutely, absolutely, because he even stated if Florida State wins against Georgia and they go undefeated, why not why wouldn't they be national champions? And there is precedent. A few years ago, you had University of Central Florida. 2017, they went undefeated. They won their bowl game. They won the Peach Bowl. They were, in fact, a de facto national championship, even though that year Alabama was a one loss and won the national championship playoff. So you have these instances where Florida State can definitely rally around Brock Glenn. You have the players that now their number has been called. So it is their opportunity to not only showcase their skill, the skill they've showed in practice, the skill they've showed in scrimmages, the skill they've showed to schools, when they send their highlight reel, when they post it on Twitter or Instagram or TikTok. We've said it before, just like you said yesterday. When it is your time to play, whether it's your first snap, your 50th snap, your 150th snap, especially in a bowl game and a prestigious bowl game at this is the Orange Bowl. This is one of those highlight bowls where you can definitely showcase your skill, where someone can say years down the line, hey, did you see what so and so did in the Orange Bowl in 2023? Did you see what so and so did in the Orange Bowl? So it's one of those games where whether the background noise says otherwise, you have to make the decisions. You have to show the heart, the leadership. Both coaches know what their teams want. Both teams want to win. But on paper, it's more in favor of Georgia. And for many, it's really how big of a margin is Georgia going to win versus if Florida can be undefeated.
Speaking of Brock Bowers, he did not travel with the team, so I'm wondering what's gonna happen with him because he is banged up. Um, I'm not. I understand, but at the same time, I don't agree with players opting out not to play for this game because it's like at the end of the day, you're playing for something. So, but every human being has the right to opt out or play, whatever the case may be, but I don't agree with it, how they're going about it. But I call it the statement game from either or teams. But this is more for Florida State. I want them to win this game. I respect Georgia. I do think Georgia's gonna win, but I'm really pulling for Florida State to win this game by any means necessary. So I just hope that they find the motivation, the determination to win this game. Um, I'll say Georgia will win this game. I don't have a definitive score. I didn't really process that well, but deep down, I want Florida State to win. So, but the game is tomorrow, 4 p.m. I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to Kentucky, Clemson right now, which it says on the way right now on ESPN. But this is what we do. We love bowl season, so I think Georgia will win this game, but I just hope it's not a blowout. I fear that it will be, but I hope it's not.
You're right, Miguel. I hope this can be one of those interesting bowl games where analysts are absolutely wrong. You as a football fan, when you have players that play their heart out every week, they get the opportunity, their team is thrust into the national spotlight, and they have that opportunity, in a way yanked from them. It puts a drive in them. And I agree with you, opting out to get ready for the draft, I understand it, but at the same time, if your team got overlooked, why not showcase your skill in a prestigious bowl game against a defending national championship and beat them?
And
Why
not to
not?
and not to interrupt, Avery, and that's one thing I want to add. I'm old school in the sense that I believe that, if I'm an athlete, I have to win by any means necessary. I feel like these games are too important. It doesn't matter if it's not the ultimate prize. I'm old school in that regard. If I'm healthy, I'm playing, especially against Georgia, a team that was dominant for the last 2 seasons. Like, come on, that's a statement game, but go ahead, continue.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that, like even Trey Benson and Keon Coleman aren't playing, they were absolutely dynamic this year. And I think they would have been really great to rally around Brock Glenn, for the team to rally around Brock Glenn as being leaders of that team, to show that, yes, you're correct, this is a statement game and it makes sense. When Georgia had 19 players decide to play, they didn't want their last game to be a loss to Alabama. So Florida State players opting out, okay, so you didn't get a chance to play for a national championship, but you're not going to want to beat a defending national championship to have a perfect season. And here's the take. I absolutely would love Florida State to win. Like you say, any means necessary. If they have a fabulous game and blow out Georgia, hey, that'd be great. If they end up winning on a walk-off field goal or walk-off pick six or walk-off anything, I think it'll be fabulous. And for anybody who is there at the Orange Bowl, you're going to see a great game. You're going to see a great game. But like anybody in the back of my mind, I see Georgia just going really, really hard to make up for that loss to Alabama. But I hope Florida State plays a really great game. They take a book out of USC, who beat Louisville, and that was a fantastic game. And like you said, Miguel, this is bowl season. Why not end your collegiate career on a high note, play in a bowl, play in probably a talked about bowl that could be mentioned for years, a bowl that could, cement your early career as a professional player. Why sit on the sideline? And I understand if you don't want to get injured, if you want to take care of yourself, I understand that. But when there are so many elements that has thrust your team into the national spotlight that don't even involve football, and you're not going to play football, it boggles my mind in a bit. And even though ESPN, believe it or not, only has Georgia winning this game by 60%. So if anyone thinks that Georgia, is just all over this, even people that do data and analytics, even they say that Florida State has a chance. So in the back of my mind, I do want Florida State to win, but I think that spread is just too big for Florida State to overcome. So for my score with the over under being 45, I'm gonna say that Florida State's gonna keep it close. They're gonna try. They're gonna absolutely try. I think their drive can overtake anything else, and it can overtake the noise that is happening. So I'm gonna give this to Georgia, but I'm gonna give it a slight edge to Georgia. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go 24 to 21. 24-21 Georgia. I'm I'm gonna say that both defenses are gonna try their darndest to upset both offenses so that it'll be frustrating for either quarterback. It'll be frustrating for Carson Beck of Georgia. It's going to be frustrating for Brock Glenn. But when the opportunities are there, both teams are going to take them. I don't see this being like the USC Louisville. I don't see this being a 30 to 40 point game. I see this to being kind of mid-range. But if it does go that route, then we are in for an absolute treat. We are going to be in for an absolute treat tomorrow afternoon.